You know what? While we're on ECW, does anyone? Why don't we take the ECW questions now? Does anyone in the crowd want to take the mic that might have an ECW question? Just make your way. Oh,
yeah, ECW question.
Someone I know. Go to the podium so I can hear you.
New Jack, all right.
What's going on, man? How you doing? Good. How you doing?
Indie question.
Ladies and gentlemen, New Jack. Jack always seems to find his way to these things. New Jack, we were in this room together for the Terry Funk roast, weren't we?
I try to put that out in my mind,
Me
please.
too.
I was under the influence of a lot of narcotic. I don't want to think about that. I'm serious. Honestly, Vince, I will say this much to you. You are one of the few people in this business that I've never said anything bad about.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
I respect it.
I've never heard anybody come back to me and tell me anything bad you said about me. So I called Sean to make it a point to come up here and tell you this to your face. Now, when I leave, you might say that, nigger. But right now, you didn't say that. Oh, shut up. You said it before. So my question to you is this. You created a lot of characters in the business, which I know, a lot of them. One in particular that I wanted to ask you about was Sandman and Steve Austin.
Great characters.
Sandman was created through ECW. Did you have anything to do with Steve Austin? Was that like a spinoff of Sandman? And do you take credit for Steve Austin almost being like a higher version in shape of Sandman?
Yeah.
You know, that's a good question, and I'm really glad you asked that, because this is one of those things where I'm glad I have the opportunity to set the record straight. I was basically writing with, it was basically me and Vince when Austin came into WWE. I don't even think Ed Ferrara was around then. And I'll never forget, I was a stunning Steve Austin fan. So, I mean, I knew Steve from watching him on WCW. And I always saw something in Steve. And I'll never forget when he first came into the WWE, I sat down with Vince and I was like, okay, Vince, what do you see for this character? How do you want me to write for this character? And I remember, you know, Vince, somebody had come up with the ringmaster gimmick. I'm not sure who that was. It wasn't me. But I remember Vince looking at me and saying that Steve Austin is to never say a single word. Ted DiBiase is to do all his talking. And much to Steve's credit, he would come up to me at every television. Vince, give me a chance, give me a chance, give me a chance. I was in a tough spot because I knew Vince didn't want him to talk.
Right.
And basically, I'll never forget it, because this is really how stars are made. There was one particular Raw where through the back door, there was a segment, and I kind of snuck Steve into the segment on headsets. And, you know, no lines, no direction, nothing. And I remember, you know, sitting there watching the show live, and right before my eyes, Steve made the transition from the ringmaster to Stone Cold Steve Austin. And, you know, I gotta say, it was so much to his credit, because I don't need to tell you, New Jack, you know, you hear so much in the business, you know, like when you're given an opportunity, you have to run with it. Austin was literally given maybe 3 minutes on TV,
right,
and he turned that 3 minutes into $10 million.
Made it count. Yeah. Made it count.
Well, for people, like, I'll compare myself to it, okay? and a lot of people never knew this, and I always get like stabbed for it through other companies, other promoters. Okay, Paulie would tell me, go out, cut a promo. Basically, here's a gun. It has bullets in it. Shoot them. And I would go out and I would say anything I wanted to say. He edited the show, not me. So if they heard me curse, it wasn't because I wasn't told to. I was given the okay to.
Okay.
But I would get criticized and talked about like New Jack curses too much when he does shows. Well, if you give me a gun and tell me to shoot it, I'ma shoot it. Because it's not my show, I just work for him. With you, a lot of people, I would hear a lot of times where you would develop characters or you would give people an idea for a character and they would either make it or they will break it. And this is the thing that I felt kind of wasn't too fair. A lot of times I was told you gave people ideas to become a character and they went out there and blew it because they didn't tell exactly, they didn't go by the plan that you told them to go by, and they went out there and took it upon themselves and screwed it up, and then they turned around and said, well, I did it because that's what Vince told me to do. And in your defense, I would say that didn't happen. You gave people a lot of ideas as to being a character, and you told them what to do, and once they got in front of the camera, they went out there and did their own thing, and then they were sitting at home the next week watching TV, watching the show, because they didn't do what you told them to do.
Well, it's a compliment. You'll take that, right?
Yeah, no, yeah, absolutely. And you know, it's the pros are going to take the advice from people who do what they do best. And you know, I think you're right, New Jack. I think there are sometimes there are talent that think they know better than the writer. And that would kind of be like the equivalent of me telling a wrestler, well, I can go in the ring and have a better match than you.
Right.
So, you know, there is some warrant to what you're saying.
I mean,
I appreciate that.
I worked with you at TNA for a little bit. Y'all did something one night, and I could have took it and been pissed off about it, or I could have took it and made light of it, and I chose to make light of it. And I know you was with Creative then because it was you and basically Jeff. Somebody came up with the bright idea of New Jack putting on a Shark Boy mask. And they was like, Jack, I think somebody's mad at you. So between Russo and Jeff Jarrett, they want you to go out there with a Shark Boy mask to embarrass you. Well, actually, I got paid that night for wearing that Shark Boy mask, number one. Number two, I made light of it because I took the mask and turned it around backwards. Then I started playing peekaboo with the mask. And I was like, if anybody in the back was trying to make me mad about it, then it didn't work. You know what I mean? And I never took any offense to it because I do know in this business, I've never seen anybody hold a gun to anybody's head and say, you got to go out there and do this or I'm going to shoot you. You have a choice. You know what I mean?
Well, it's making the best of it. If the Rooster could have done it, maybe that would have worked out differently. You committed to it and you ran with it. That's
exactly.
That's
and I mean,
like
my thing
done.
is, okay, and I do know you're a big, I won't say big fan of, excuse me, our show and not y'all, so would you please do us a favor and shut up? You are a big fan of, not a fan, but you believe in a heel being a heel, you know what I'm saying? A face being a face, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of people had a problem, I think, with you having that attitude, but that was just really just trying to show the boys that this is the way it's supposed to be done. When you go out there and you do your character, you do your character. You know what I'm saying? And if you're the heel, which means the bad guy. If you're the heel, then you go out there and be the heel. Right. You know what I mean? If you're the face, you go out there and be the face. Well, like I said, you're more like with the in Puerto Rico, they're big on that. You know what I'm saying?